it's Nicole and I'm here with Watercolor Wednesday and I'm showing you some of the Inklingz that I got and the texture paste and the Dazzlerz page and paste, and that's all from Shimmerz. And I showed you my watercolor paper. It is from Strathmore. I just went to Michael's last week and they had some on sale. Not usually the ones that I like the ones that are in the pads, but it was on sale, so I got them because I was almost out. Now I have a few Shimmerz and Inklingz. No, products from Shimmerz. Some of them are Inklingz, some of them are creamers. And I got 3 different color. And as you can tell there, I'm going, okay, I want to go about a third of the page, about 4 inches. And I'm adding the tealer color, or the more aqua color, in the middle. And then now I'm going for the bluer tones to the bottom and to the top of that color. And I'm just, those, when they come to you and they're hard. And you just add water to them just by spritzing water. And the whole thing, I was always wondering about those when I saw them, when I saw Missy Whitten use them. I wondered if the whole paste turned into paint, but it doesn't. It's just the top layer that basically you water down, or you add water and it becomes color. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but I leave them open until they dry up and then I put them away. I had closed one up once and I don't know, there was like condensation in there and everything. So I was like, ugh, maybe I should leave it open, let it dry, and then next time I use them, just add more color. So now I added some lighter teal at the top, then in the middle, then I had 2 more different blues, and I'm drying it, adding more color, and you can see the nice texture that I'm getting with that. Then where I added water, I just put my paintbrush into it. It's a round brush. I think it's a 10 or a 12. I have 10, 12, 14. So it just depends, whatever I grabbed. And then I just made some huge splatters on the page. Now I'm using a Dear Lizzie template, and I love that flower. I don't know what they're called. Something Susan, maybe? I don't know. I'm not a big garden person, and it's not that I don't like flowers. I love flowers. I just don't like the bugs that come with doing gardening. We have a lot of mosquitoes where I live, so it's not something that I don't like, going outside and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I don't do flowers because of that. So I'm using 2 types of paste. There's the Dazzlerz and the Texturez. And the Texturez, there's almost like sand in them. And I have 2 colors of teal. And so I'm just kind of alternating whether I'm using the Dazzlerz or the Texturez. I have to say, I think I like the Dazzlerz better. Literally, I'm grinding my teeth when I'm using the Texturez because of those little grainy things in there, like sand or something. They're still pretty. It's just, I guess, until I get used to that texture, it's like, ugh. It's like, nails on a chalkboard or something to me. And but I just thought those 2 colors were so pretty, and I just wanted to do a layout that I just use those colors. I got quite a few. I got, I think, quite a bit of the creamies, only because they were the first thing on the website. And then I just placed another order today, and I got a little bit more Inklingz this time. I only got, I think, 4 or 5 Inklingz last time. So I just got a little bit more, and I got none of the sprays in the first order, and this time I ordered I think 3 sprays, and try them out. Now I want to do a little embellishment cluster to the top right, just to kind of offset it, because I kind of went, 1/3 of the page, and I kind of went wider in the middle and then smaller at the bottom, and then I'm going to do an embellishment cluster to the top right. I'm going to dry that up. I just added some more of that watercolor. Now I'm adding some more of that Dazzlerz, which the Dazzlerz paste has a shimmer to it, and the textures have kind of a grainy texture to it. Both beautiful. Now I bought this stamp from Technique Tuesday, no, Freckle Fawn. It's a Lorelei stamp set, and it's all words related to selfies. Now, while I was waiting for the paste to dry, I was like, what collection am I going to pull from my stash that I'm going to use with this? Now, this is an Amy Tangerine, super old, well, probably at least a couple years old, collection, the +1 collection, and I pulled it out because there was a lot of teals and aquas in there, and I want to go teal and black, and that collection is mostly that teal and black. So I did buy the paper pack, and the paper's thinner, but I don't mind. I usually will mount it on something else, so I don't mind that it's a little thinner. And I also am going to mount that watercolor paper on that blue background. I just cut a 3x4 card, which I don't end up using. But at this point, I really didn't know, what I was going to do. I'm going to go through now the 6x6 pattern paper pad, and I'm going to pull out some papers to mat my photo. And that's what I like to use my 6x6 pattern paper pad for, is, mounting photos. And also, if you like to die cut, it's nice to cut with the 6x6 pattern paper pad too, because it the pattern is smaller, so it shows up more on the layers. And I end up taking out way more than I end up using. I want to do some aquas and black, and then almost in the middle I decide, I think I'd like a punch of color, and I decide to add some yellow, which in the Amy Tangerine +1 collection there's quite a bit of yellow, and I'm going to end up doing that. My phone rang there, so I had to answer my phone. Today is November 10th, and it is the daughter I'm scrapping about. It's her birthday, and so I just wanted to scrap her, and she was calling. She lives in a different city now, but her boyfriend was working all day, so she drove from where she is, and she's come and spent a part of the day with her best friend, which is still here in Moncton, and then she's gonna come over now for supper and spend a few hours with us before she heads back home. And I made her favorite spaghetti, so I spent most of the morning making spaghetti sauce. She doesn't like cake, so I made her 2 of her favorite pies. I kind of gathered her gifts because at her age, she's 22 today. Didn't wrap her gifts, but I just kind of put it in a nice little bag there. And then I cleaned the house, made a few loads of laundries, and then I made this page for tomorrow, November 11th. I usually am so a little bit further ahead, but I've kind of fallen behind there, and I'm also working on my newest class that I'm going to release in 3 weeks, so 2.5 weeks. So I'm kind of working hard at that too, and trying to catch up on my project life and trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done. Now I love this camera that's from Amy Tangerine, and at first I used the Memento ink, but I think that ink bleeds if I remember correctly. So instead I went and got my StazOn, and I'm going to stamp it out a few times, and it doesn't stamp out perfect, which I know those stamps are acrylic, so that's why they're so cheap. So you want to make sure that your stamp set is nice and juicy. Now StazOn, one thing about StazOn is almost every time you stamp with it, you almost have to re-ink it. So with a StazOn, you should buy the re-inker right away. I find it doesn't stay, like, it dries out really quickly. And so you're going to see me pull out my refill here once I get frustrated. I didn't know where it was, so I didn't want to bother and look for it, but after a while, I think for the camera, I'm okay with the way it stamps, but then I'm gonna do the word selfie here in a minute, and it, where it's a word and it's thin, um, it really shows that my ink pad is not inked up. So then at that point, I'm gonna put my hands up in the air and say, okay, I'm gonna look for you and I'm gonna stamp. I'm gonna ink it up and then I'm gonna stamp it. This is where I found it was too tone on tone with the aqua. As I'm doing the voiceover, I realized I didn't even keep any of the aqua, which wasn't my intention. But I think that's just the way the layout kind of went. So I went and got some more. I'm digging for some more colors, and this is where I decide, you know what, I'm going to go for a pop of yellow. And I grab one of the 6x6 yellow pattern papers. I do cut out this little die cut, which I don't end up using. A lot of times, you take some stuff out, and then as you're working on the layout, you decide not to use it. With this collection, there was some rub-ons and also some die cuts. I take both out, and I end up using the rub-ons. I don't end up using any of the die cuts. I do end up using some of the stickers, though. So now I'm taking my StazOn, and I'm just inking all the edges in black. And where it's kind of not very inky right now, it's kind of perfect because it's not going to make a mess. And I'm going to start gluing everything down. And like I said, I decide not to put any of the teal at this point. There was enough teal in the background. I just wanted contrasting colors once I started putting the layers together. This was also a 6x6 pattern paper pad that I cut down. And then this was part of a cut apart sheet also from the 6x6. I'm going to pull out a few rub-ons. I'm going to cut apart, which one? The cloud and the sun, the camera, the arrows, and and the little curly Q thing in teal, and I'm going to use it on this layout. And for this, I found it's not that the paper was super buckled, but my ATG tape was almost out, and I just didn't feel like filling it during the video, so I just thought I'll just use my score tape. I have tons of score tape. I used to make mini albums galore. I used to make mini albums. Actually, I used to make more mini albums than I did 12x12s for a while, until my son said, Mom, you know what you used to do? And it was like a whole page, because this was like 3 years ago. So he was, I don't know, 11 or 12. And he said, it wasn't like a book. It was like in a book, but it wasn't, all the pages were separate and they were in plastic and stuff. And they were kind of big. And I'm like, oh, like this. And I showed him, and he said, yeah. He says, I miss those. So I thought, ooh, okay, I should maybe start doing some 12x12s again. And then I started making 12x12s, and I mean 12x12 was my first love. So, and I never looked back. I'm a kind of all or nothing kind of person, it seems. I either just do mini books, or I just do 12x12s, and that's what I was afraid of when I started doing Project Life, because I did not want to stop making 12x12s, and I didn't want to just do Project Life, or but it seems to be okay. I haven't gone over to that other just a Project Life quite yet. So this is where I re-inked my StazOn pad, and I just stamped right over top the selfie again, and I was off a smidgen, but it's not enough that it bothers me. Now I'm going to rub those rub-ons on, and a few of them, they rub on okay. That arrow, the end of the arrow rubbed off okay, but the tip of it didn't want to rub off. The other arrow, the tip and the end rubbed off okay. It was the middle. The camera, it was mostly okay. It was only the top of it that didn't rub off, like where the flash part would be. And then the sun and the cloud, oof, that was really splotchy. But to me, it was like, it looked like I meant it to be that way, kind of distress, and it kind of went with the rest of the layout. Because this kind of has a distress look to it, so I was okay with it. I'm going to end up taking the cloud and I'm going to put it right there to the left, and it looks then like the flower, like that part, it looks like it's just part of a big cloud or something like that. Like I said, it doesn't come off good at all, but it's going to do for now. Okay. Had to stop the recording. My daughter got here, so I just want to go say hi, and then I came to finish this. So I'm going to ink the edges of pretty much all the edges of all the papers, and I'm looking to see what else I can use. There was a couple of rub-on stars, and those came off pretty good. And I kind of made sort of a little cluster using rub-ons there at the bottom of the layout. And I'm going to use that little die cut of the camera, and I'm going to put it at the top of the layout, and I want to use that ampersand just because it was the right color. And so I'm going to figure out something a little later using that ampersand, and I'm trying to figure out where I can put that die cut. And you know, the perspective that you actually see from above, I kind of like it. I wish I could actually see my layouts like that. I wish I could see my layouts from above like that and get that perspective, because a lot of times when I move something, it's like, oh, that didn't look that bad there, but from the perspective I could see it, I was like, nah, I don't like that. Or maybe, you know, if you scrap it a different day, it would be a different, you would have a different view of it. So I took a sticker and I'm gonna stick it down, cut it in half, and then stick it underneath one of the cluster, and then I'm going to put the other one with the cluster of the clouds and the sun, and then I'm going to take some little words that just says here we go, and the little center of the stickers weren't coming off, so I had to use my pokey tool and get it out. And I'm going to use a few stickers, and I didn't know if I wanted to put the ampersand there, and then I decided to put it right there. And while I'm thinking about how I could sort of do that, I go to something else. I grabbed some of these puffy stickers, also from the Amy Tangerine +1 collection, and I'm trying to move some, you know, put some yellow and blue elements on, or teal elements on the layout. And then I remembered that I had stamped all those cameras. And so I'm going to go get some more Inklingz or creamies, and I'm going to color one camera with yellow because I wanted to bring some yellow. And again, you just spritz some water. What I keep bringing in is just a bottle of just water, and I'm just putting water on top until it activates it. And then I color one camera yellow, and then I use the other two colors, and you can tell the yellow is way softer than the other two colors. So now I'm going to take out my heat tool and I'm going to dry those up, and then I'm going to cut them down and use them on the layout. I didn't find that the yellow was, you know, deep enough or had enough color, so I waited till it dried and then I just added some more color. I'm going to use my heat tool because I'm too impatient. I want it done like yesterday. I'm on a time crunch right now. Today is, like I said, November 10th. We're going to have supper, and then my son has hockey, and then I work tomorrow morning, so I'm trying to get everything done so that it is up by before tomorrow. So I stamped down the word selfie again using the StazOn, and then I'm going to put the rub on right over top, and it just looks like it says "and selfie." And then I'm going to put the 3 little cameras there. I'm going to cut them all out. I'm going to put them down, and then I'm going to think, I need something to ground this. So then I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper that's just sitting there to the right. It's the paper with all the arrows. And I'm going to end up putting the yellow camera in the middle just because I just like the way it looked. And there's the piece of paper. I'm liking how that grounds everything, so I'm just going to glue it down. I could have maybe cut it down a little bit, but the cameras are going to hang over. I'm just going to put the cameras on some foam tape. I'm going to remove the backing, and I'm going to add it to the layout. And then I'm just going to add some yellow splatters using the Inklingz again. And there's not going to be any pictures following this, and my first thing on my agenda on Thursday is going to be taking pictures of all the layouts that are not up on my website, and then there's going to be pictures with the layouts on the website with the video. And that's it. That's going to complete this Watercolor Wednesday, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for watching. Bye.